Look around you. The air you breathe, the water you drink, the screen you're watching, even the stars above you, all of them have something in common. They are made of matter. But what exactly is matter? What is it made of? And how do chemists classify it? In this lesson, we'll zoom from the world we can see down to the microscopic level and build a clear picture of how matter is organized. We'll explore the states of matter, physical and chemical changes, pure substances, elements, compounds, and mixtures. By the end, you'll have a simple framework that you can use to classify the matter you encounter every day. Let's begin.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. The phases of matter. 2. Physical and chemical changes. 3. Defining pure substances. And 4. The 2 types of mixtures. This structure is going to take us logically from observable states right down to atomic composition.
All right, Section 1. The phases of matter: solids, liquids, and gases.
Let's start right at the baseline with the observable world by defining matter itself. This is absolutely crucial. Matter is defined very simply as anything that has mass and occupies space. That's it. Everything we're going to discuss today falls under this simple definition, taking on the various forms that we interact with daily. Whether it's incredibly heavy like a brick or super light like a balloon full of helium, if it has mass and it takes up volume, it's matter.
Now, it's incredibly useful to categorize the 3 most common phases of matter based on their macroscopic properties, specifically their shape and volume, and crucially, how their microscopic particles are actually moving. Take a solid, for example. It has a fixed shape and a fixed volume. And here's a fun fact. To be incredibly precise, even in a solid, the particles aren't perfectly still. They're tightly packed, sure, but they're constantly vibrating in place. A liquid, on the other hand, still has a fixed volume, but its shape is variable. It'll just mold to the shape of whatever container you put it in because the particles, while still touching, are able to move fluidly past one another. Finally, a gas has absolutely no fixed volume and no fixed shape. It's going to expand to completely fill its container because the particles are far apart, moving totally freely, and they very rarely even touch.
Moving on to Section 2. Physical and chemical changes. How matter transforms.
You know, matter doesn't just sit there frozen in time. It frequently changes forms. And understanding how to categorize these transformations is literally the heart of chemistry. There's a fundamental difference between the 2 main types of changes matter can undergo. In a physical change, the chemical composition of the substance is entirely unchanged. Think about ice melting into water. The substance goes from a solid phase to a liquid phase. The way the water molecules are arranged changes, but structurally, they're still just water molecules. However, a chemical change is fundamentally different. The actual chemical composition of the substance changes. Chemical bonds between atoms actually have to break, and new ones must form to generate a completely new substance. For example, if you take hydrogen gas and oxygen gas and combine them to form water, chemistry has occurred. The hydrogen and oxygen atoms used to be connected to themselves, but during the reaction, those bonds break and they connect to each other instead. New bonds, completely new substance.
Section 3. Defining pure substances, elements, and compounds.
Now that we've got a handle on how matter behaves and transforms, let's zoom in a bit more to the microscopic level to see how chemists actually classify what matter is. We start this classification with pure substances. The absolutely crucial point here is that a pure substance cannot be pulled apart into different materials just by physically manipulating it. Take water again, for instance. Whether you boil it into a gas or freeze it into a solid ice cube, it inherently remains water. It's a specific type of molecule, which is really just multiple connected atoms acting as a single unit. Because a physical change doesn't break chemical bonds, a physical process can never, ever separate a pure substance into something else.
Pure substances are then divided into 2 subcategories. The first is an element. Elements are the fundamental building blocks of the universe. They are made of only one type of atom. Because they are the foundational pieces, you can't use any physical process. And actually, scratch that, you can't even use a chemical process to break them down into smaller, simpler parts. They are as simple as it gets.
The second type of pure substance is a compound. So unlike an element, a compound is made up of different types of atoms. Specifically, it's 2 or more elements chemically bonded together. Water's the perfect example here again. It's not an element, it's a compound made of hydrogen and oxygen. While it's still just one type of molecule, we can use a chemical process to break those bonds and divide the water back into its base elements of hydrogen and oxygen. But once we do that, we hit that fundamental element level, and that is as far as we can go with standard chemistry.
Which brings us to our fourth and final section, two types of mixtures, homogeneous and heterogeneous.
Let's look at this final classification category and see what happens when we start physically blending pure substances together in the real world. Because let's be honest, most of what you encounter every single day isn't just a single pure substance, it's a mixture. A mixture is made of multiple types of molecules, two or more pure substances occupying the exact same space. And here is the defining characteristic. Because they are just physically mixed and not chemically bonded together, they can be separated by physical processes. For instance, if you boil a mixture of salt water, the water undergoes a physical change and evaporates into a gas, while the salt gets left behind in the pot. The substances have successfully separated, completely proving that no chemical bonds were holding the salt and the water together in the first place.
Mixtures are further broken down into two distinct visual categories, and a mixture's classification depends entirely on its uniformity. A homogeneous mixture is perfectly blended. The pure substances are distributed completely evenly, and every single section of the mixture looks exactly the same, kind of like sugar completely dissolved in water. On the flip side, we've got heterogeneous mixtures. These are unevenly distributed. If you were to zoom in on different sections of it, they'd look distinctly different. Think of oil and water. No matter how vigorously you shake them, they separate into distinct layers, and they just do not blend uniformly.
Okay, so to bring all of these concepts together, we can effectively map out everything we've just learned into a beautiful taxonomic tree, breaking down the physical universe step by step. We start right at the top with matter. Matter can either be a pure substance or a mixture. Now, if it's a pure substance, it can be an element made of one type of atom, or a compound made of multiple elements bonded together. But if it's a mixture, it can be homogeneous and perfectly blended, or heterogeneous and unevenly distributed. Every single physical thing around you fits neatly onto one of these specific branches.
As we wrap up this lesson, I've got a challenge for you. Try applying this new mental map to your own daily life. Take a quick look at the beverage you're drinking right now, the metal on your desk, or even just the air you're breathing, and see if you can decode the matter surrounding you. Once you start seeing the world through this incredible lens of elements, compounds, and mixtures, you'll realize just how perfectly structured our physical universe really is. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.